I had a very interesting and wonderful meeting with a colleague of mine, actually part of a business networking group. And I met with someone who is a little older than I. He's in his early 60s and he's been very successful building a career. And he shared with me one thing for him that he keeps in the back of his mind for what keeps him going, what helps him to succeed, what helps him to accomplish new goals. And it was really very simple. It's one sentence that I think we've heard in different walks of our life, and it was simply, failure is not an option. And it's a very powerful statement. It's a very powerful intention to set, and and it can really push you when you're feeling challenged, when you hit those walls, when you feel like you can't go on. Failure is not an option is going to motivate you to keep on going. But as someone who is not only a Thai massage teacher and therapist and practitioner, but really someone who is so focused on health, wellness, well-being, to help my clients and to help myself, that one kind of triggered me a little bit. And it's not like I think that is a bad message to say that failure is not an option, but it can be a pretty toxic message and depending on how you integrate that and how you work with that message in your life. So if that intention feels like it would be very helpful for you, I do want you to consider there's a shadow side to that, and which is that, you can burn yourself out. You can potentially sacrifice relationships that you didn't want to give up necessarily. You can hurt yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, if you push yourself to such a degree where, failure is not an option, and you hit certain walls and you don't recognize that you've hit certain walls and you keep pushing forward. And so while I think that it's actually a very beneficial message, I also think it's also really important to think about and consider how you want to integrate a message like that into your life. And it also got me thinking about my wheel of healing and vitality. So this wheel of healing and vitality is something that I created to help overcome injuries, to help grow as a person, to help accomplish goals, to help live a better life. There is a central area. I think of it as a wheel, like a bicycle wheel. So you have like the center area, the fulcrum, where things revolve around. You have like your spokes or your inner circle right here, and then you have the wheel or this outer circle right here. And they all play a very important role when you want to accomplish goals, when you want to be healthy and you want to do things, I think, in the healthiest ways possible. So what I would ask you to consider, if failure is not an option, is a motto and an intention that really makes sense to you, is how can you work with that and fit it into this wheel? Because I think if you can fit that into this wheel, then you can accomplish your goals and you can, succeed in the ways of life that you want, and do it in a very holistic, in a very healthy, long-lasting way that truly supports whatever it is your goal is, as well as not only for yourself, but people around you, your community, your loved ones, etc. So even though, let's talk about it in this context. So in the inner wheel, or the fulcrum here, where it says loving kindness and consistency in action. So the shadow side of failure is not an option is we keep pushing ourselves, taking consistent action, but without enough regard to being kind to ourselves when we hit those walls, when we are stuck, when we are exhausted, when we're on the road to burning out, never mind when we actually burn out, because there's plenty of people that keep pushing even when they're actually burnt out, and then you create all kinds of other health problems for yourself and other kinds of issues for yourself. So for me, if we want to avoid the shadow side and really work with that in a very positive way, it is to keep in mind the loving kindness component. So that means kindness to yourself and perhaps also kindness to others as you are pushing towards your goal. So sometimes that may mean I need to take a day off from my goal, or from the way I've pushed myself, or I just keep one core component of my goal in mind on a given day, but for the most part, I give myself space or time or kindness to myself. I know for me, some of the ways that may manifest in a practical way in my life is like if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I recognize it and I go for a little walk. Or I put my hands on my heart, literally just for a few breaths, and I invite in some love from within and maybe from all around me. Or I think of things that I'm grateful for and having a gratitude practice and things that I'm proud of. All of that to help really kind of shift the energy and to find a little bit of softness, love and care and compassion in my day. Similarly, as I'm pushing forward towards my goal, and if I'm noticing that it's causing stress, distress, or pain in my body, well then this inner circle, the spokes of the wheel, such as massage and self-massage, myofascial yoga, dynamic stretching, strength and core building, healthy consumption, are the tactics. These are ways that you can work with yourself to help you to be healthier. And then by being healthier, it's going to help you towards your goals, and it's going to help you to get there in a way that's just so much more sustaining, long-lasting, and beneficial. So if you pushing towards your goal, for example, is causing pain in your body, then you really want to consider maybe it's time to go get a massage. Or maybe there are some self-massage techniques that I can do on a regular basis. Or, myofascial yoga is yoga that gets into the fascial network, the connective tissues in the body, your infrastructure. I call it the scaffolding of the body. And it's not the focus of this video to really describe too much what that is, but one way that you can help your fascia is to get, there are these things called miracle balls, and I can post a link down below to these miracle balls. They're about the size of a softball, but they're soft, and you lay on them on your lower back or in your hips or behind your shoulders, etc. And you want them to be soft so that you can spend 30 to 60 seconds laying on them in one specific place, and then that resets and releases all kinds of deep tension in your body. Maybe your goal has you so focused that you're not exercising in any way. Or maybe you do exercise to lift weights because you know that gives you energy, but you're stiff and tight, and so you're not stretching enough. So thinking about your goal holistically and thinking about all the holistic ways to treat yourself while you're working towards your goal is so important. And then, of course, we have these last two, like mindfulness, being present, training your mind so that, yes, you understand that failure is not an option, but a broader way to get there and to accomplish whatever it is that you're doing is, to some degree, letting go of the end result and what that might look like. And instead, training your mind to not only develop, when you have such a fixed failure is not an option goal, it's usually going to bring about a certain kind of left brain way of just go, get things done, being maybe even very focused on the future and on your tasks until the thing gets done. What mindfulness teaches us is getting in touch with the present moment, which is a time when there is so much abundant energy, because energy really lives in every moment. And it also trains us to welcome in feelings of peacefulness, feelings of love, feelings of compassion, feelings of support, and so many other beneficial things. So mindfulness is, again, going to help you to achieve your goals in such a healthy way. And then, of course, healthy consumption, if we're not eating well, if we're not sleeping well, if we're not taking care of ourselves on that level while we're going towards our goals, then that catches up to us in so many different ways. So all of this is a holistic formula for you to, again, feel better, feel healthier, achieve your goals, and make them just so much more sustainable and long-lasting. And lastly, that most outer part of the wheel that has nature and community, again, we often get so into our narrow vision of going for our goals that we don't realize sometimes we need help. And this is a great way to ask for help. Either going for walks out there and maybe putting something out there into nature or into the universe and into your surroundings to ask for support as you're going for your goals. Community, asking your friends for help, asking your family for help, sometimes just by sharing what your obstacles are, what you're trying to accomplish, or just letting go of your goals and just going out there and having fun and being in these places and experiencing these things is just great to do. And then it helps to give you so much more energy to come back to your goals with a renewed sense of purpose and vigor and just a sense of, I got this. So something to think about, this wheel of healing and vitality, while you are making your life better, while you are striving to make the lives of your loved ones better, your community and your world better, so that if you have a goal like failure is not an option, then you can do that in just the most healthiest way possible for you. I hope that this resonates, and I would love to hear from you. If you want to post your comments, your questions down below, then please do. If you have any other questions, if you want to know, and if you have your own goals, a different goal, and you want to know how you can integrate that with this wheel of healing and vitality to provide and produce better results for you in the present and in the long term, then please share that as well. And that's it. That's my story. I'm wishing you an amazing, amazing day and success on your journey.